I did want to speak a little bit about the fundamental causes. When and if we get past this crisis, what do we do? I think I would like to put it a little more starkly than Joe Stiglitz did. I think calling it inequality is not quite what happened. It's really wage stagnation and wage decline for a very large proportion of populations, with some increase of incomes and some very significant increase of incomes for people way at the top. Much of it, if not the vast majority of it, coming from financialization through Wall Street, CEOs getting stock options and so forth. From my point of view, America has had a low-wage society for quite a while, especially in historical terms. We always paid the highest wages in the world, historical evidence suggests. It's no longer the case. And that led to this, people could not make ends meet without borrowing, and the borrowing became excessive and the savings dropped. It's another way of looking at what Joe's talking about. So when we talk about solutions, we've got to talk about ways to get wages up for most Americans again. To me, if we get past this crisis, that will be the priority. And I hope we get a chance to talk about that a little bit, because I don't think there are going to be pure free market solutions that enable us to do that. Very quickly then, returning to this crisis, this is not an easy matter, as you know, and I suspect there was a line out there for that very reason. You're all worried, and you should be worried. This is not recession as usual. It's not recession plus as usual. It's the coming together of many factors: the crash in the housing market, the credit crisis, and now a very severe recession that, if not stopped, will make those matters worse. And there's an interaction that could lead us to a very severe spiral downward. The Obama administration has done remarkably well, from my point of view, in coming up with a stimulus plan. They get an A for political achievement, maybe an A- for the stimulus. We don't need any of those tax cuts. And most people do agree it should be bigger. But I think we've got to give credit where credit is due. They were slow in coming up with a program to deal with housing. I think it's a pretty good program. I think probably we'll need more to stem the default rate. But there's something there. I think that was a B or B+. They've been very bad, and I think this will occupy a fair amount of our attention in the bank bailout, and I'll defer that discussion. But we need a much more serious attention to the banking and credit crisis problems than we've had so far. Having said that, I think I always feel guilty about this criticism, because I feel guilty because it's hard to criticize the Obama administration from where I sit after 8 years of the Bush administration, and forgive me, Joe, some problem with the Clinton administration as well, and those 12 years of Bush plus Reagan before that. So I'm going to be a little bit cautious about criticism, but I think we really need to look hard-heartedly at what we've got to do, and there's a lot that has to be done. I think we'll get a chance to discuss it at greater length. Okay.